The story of Tiny Rails is that your grandfather, who is the family patriarch, has a lovely little regional train company in the American Northeast, is getting close to retirement.
And you start traveling the world and expanding your train empire, so to speak, from just a little wooden train and caboose to an empire of 18 cars and traveling around the world and competing against all the other train corporations that are out there. And then you also meet a whole bunch of variety of characters too.
It's about getting people from place to place and accomplishing goals in order to make this company the great dream that I think your grandpa set out for it.
We want players to be able to play Tiny Rails as much or as little as they like, but when they are there, we wanted to give them characters and story that they could connect to and reasons to go to these different places that they're going to be exploring.
I've always looked at the story for Tiny Rails as a way to just have you travel the world without actually knowing you're traveling the world or the region.
Oh, I want to see what this person does next. I want to see like where I'm going next. And it just kind of adds a little bit more progression.
The main villain in Tiny Rails is Mr. Blackwell.
Harold Blackwell.
Blackwell.
And he does not care about you. He runs Railco, and he really just finds you more of a nuisance, and you're encroaching on his turf, and he's always trying to stay one step ahead of you.
He's got this awful grin that just makes you want to smack him right up front the first time he comes on. I'm not a violent person, but I'd like to hit him.
We're all kind of pop culture geeks, I guess you could say.
Most of my inspiration for story generally would come from like books and movies and just life, like things I've seen and done.
We also learn a lot as we're researching these countries before we put them in the game. We do spend a lot of time looking up countries to see what sort of moments we can include and what sorts of landscapes we want to put in, but you do learn a lot of interesting things while you're doing that. And in terms of the dialogue, I've always tried to make an attempt to include a little bit of trivia in there for people who might not otherwise know much about these places as well.
Yeah, we have a love story, a star-crossed love story coming up. That's the next big one that I'm aware of.
Like I already know roughly the story I want to do for future content, and it's crazy.
I would love to do the murder mystery, the murder on the Orient Express. I've actually pitched that a couple of times, but it's a little dark for the Tiny Rails universe. So maybe something in that genre, but not using the word murder.
Okay, if I have my way, we're going to space. For sure.
I think you're going to see us concentrate a lot more on the main cast of characters, that sort of central crew that you develop in the opening 30 minutes or so of the game.
Without the story, all you'd be doing is buying and selling. And you can do that on the stock market.
I feel like it's driven by story.
There's tons of quests, there's tons of storyline, and there's tons of interesting characters for you to meet. They're just going to give you that much deeper experience.
I feel the story just adds that extra little bit of flavor to the game.